tend to do too many traditional car reviews on my channel. I'm nowhere near clever enough to be a journalist, and I don't want to try and be a journalist. So I do things like challenges and adventures and stupid stuff like that. However, today is going to be as close to a traditional car review as I've ever done on this channel, because with huge thanks to Lookers Jaguar West London, I finally have my hands on the Jaguar F-Type SVR. I wanted to start this video in the city because that's where I spend most of the time in my Jaguar F-Type R, and I wanted to see if the differences between the SVR and the R were at all noticeable when you're just cruising around at 20 miles an hour in town. Now, what are those changes between the SVR and the R, you may be asking? Well, hopefully I have the answers for you. So apart from a whole load of sort of cosmetic and aerodynamic changes, which we will be getting onto a little bit later, the key facts and stats in terms of performance are as follows. So the SVR gains around 25 brake horsepower over the standard F-Type VAR. It also gains around 20 to 25 Newton meters of torque. So that means that the 0 to 60 goes from 3.9 seconds, I think, in the F-Type VAR all-wheel drive to around 3.5 seconds in the F-Type SVR all-wheel drive. It also increases top speed from 186 miles an hour to 200 miles an hour. So there are gains that are being made. There is some weight saving that's also been taking place. There's sort of new suspension knuckle bearings that are like half a kilo lighter all around the car. There's the new titanium exhaust, which I think is around 15 kilos. They offer a new lightweight alloy, which again is around 15 kilos. And then most of the cars I think you'll find will be fitted with the carbon ceramics, which saves around 20 kilos. Unfortunately, this car has the standard, well, they're not even standard brakes, they're like super performance brakes, but they're not the carbon ceramics. So you could save a ton of weight. On top of that, all the sort of calibration, the torque vectoring, the ECU has all been kind of retuned and remodeled for more performance. So theoretically, this car should be much more exciting and engaging car to drive at speed. Having said that, my car, the F-Type R rear-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive, it's a pretty damn exciting car to drive, so not entirely sure how they've improved that. Initial impressions driving around town, it kind of feels really similar to the R, if I'm honest. I mean, obviously this is not where you come to experience the SVR, but I just wanted to see if all of these changes they've been making have transformed the car at all, made it any less usable, less comfortable. I'm actually going to make the massive statement where I think this is a softer ride than my car, the R. I don't know if that's possible, and maybe I'm in some weird kind of drugged up state of being in a new exciting car, but I'm generally very comfortable. Inside there's not a whole lot of other change. I got the same performance seats that I have in my car, same steering wheel. The gear paddles are slightly different. I have the sort of bronze paddles that they came out with the early cars. This has aluminum paddles, which are nice and cold to the touch. But apart from that, it's very similar. I even have a panoramic sunroof, which is, I think, the best feature on any F-Type. In terms of performance, it feels like in town, my car does when it's in sport mode. So in standard sort of drive, I'm in standard vehicle dynamics, the car feels like mine in sport mode. That's really about it. So there's a little bit more urgency to it. But otherwise, I think the main thing I'm picking up on is it definitely feels a bit more special. I mean, this car is bright blue, which is going to create an occasion on any occasion. Yeah, one too many occasions there. But there's something else about it. I love all this suede cloth Alcantara kind of stuff. It definitely makes it feel more sporty. And then you look out over the bonnet and you get these sort of like grills, those vents, and that makes you immediately feel like you're on something a bit more aggressive. I, unfortunately, because I'm just a complete chap, put a wing on the back of my car, so having a wing on the back of this one doesn't feel that special. I look in the mirror and it looks very similar to my wing. However, this one is carbon fiber, so it's a bit nicer. But I can imagine if you had the standard F-Type, you wouldn't be used to that and you'd be like, hell yeah, I got a wing. But realistically, to really experience the changes in this car, we have to take it outside the city. and the headline news is the SVR is bloody brilliant. You know, when the SVR got launched, I really wasn't that bothered. I was like, meh, it just feels like a facelift R rather than a whole new bespoke car. I thought it could have used more power. I think it could have looked more aggressive. But I wanted to really hold back on passing judgment on the car until I got my hands on it, because I knew there was no way that Jag were going to make a disappointing car, given how much I love the F-Type, being a bloody F-Type owner. Then last night, I had to take the car down to Goodwood for an event. The minute I got out of town and started throwing this thing around corners, I realised immediately what the SVR is all about. Oh, I'm in love! Woo! Oh my god, it's literally like a drop kick to the face. I can't believe how much quicker it feels. Oh, okay, let's dissect what is going on here, because, as I say, I was blown away yesterday at how this car transformed the minute you started pushing it. And for me, it all comes down to the steering. I would be the first to admit that my F-Type feels a little bit floaty at times. You know, when we're lucky enough to be doing drives with supercars or headed down doing some sort of mountain Swiss Alps vibes, the F-Type is great, but it's a big, heavy front-engine GT car, so it was a bit laborious at times when you're throwing it into corners. I was always a little bit nervous that it was going to act like a yacht and just go straight on off a cliff. But this, you turn in, it just goes, and it grips. I still cannot comprehend how quickly this thing will go around corners. It literally goes wherever you want to point it. I can't believe it, and that makes the driving experience so much fun. It makes me want to track this car. It makes me want to track the car. I've never really had this urge to track the F-Type, because I thought all it would be was a bad Ken Block imitation where I end up just spinning out on every corner. But this, I want to track this. And the speed, we'll come back to the steering in a second, but the speed, it definitely feels quicker over an F-Type R. This morning, and really jumping straight into this car from my car, I was disappointed by the sound. I am still fundamentally quite disappointed by the sound, because it's so close, the SVR exhaust, to the stock R exhaust. I just think they could have done so much more. Considering what Quicksilver were able to do with my car, why couldn't Jaguar in-house do a bit more? I get that, you know, it's all about refinement as well. People want to use these cars day in, day out, and you don't always want to be that loud. However, when you're on it, when you're really thrashing it, it all makes sense. It ties in so perfectly, and I've got used to this sound again over the last 24 hours. But let's get back to that steering, because as I say, that is what woke me up at 7 AM this morning, desperate to get back in this car and go for a drive. And how they've achieved it, Jag, is miracle work in a car that is still a big, heavy front-engine GT car. But basically, they've thickened the rear anti-roll bar, they put the lighter suspension knuckle bearings, they've recalibrated the torque vectoring, the ECU, the vehicle dynamics, and all together, somehow they've just created this complete, precise, agile weapon that is so much fun on the road. So much fun. I've pulled over quickly in these rapey and creepy woods to show you the cosmetic but also the aerodynamic changes that the SVR has over the standard F-Type, which are all helping towards that increased crazy new performance. So there are a few obvious styling cues on the SVR to look out for if you're trying to tell whether it's the SVR or a standard F-Type. We will start with the front bumper. Now, my favorite thing about the front bumper are these increased air intakes. So the usual car has a sort of slot in between those, but they've opened them up obviously for increased cooling and aerodynamic benefits, but I just think it makes the front end look way more aggressive and very similar to the Project 7 F-Type, my favorite F-Type so far, until today really, because I've now fallen in love with this car, but yeah. You also get these kind of like slightly extended front splitter aero parts. You see the black running along there. And in general, I just think that that front end looks more aggressive. Then on the bonnet, you have these serrated kind of grills, and they actually work these. They're not just there for styling, because when you're sat in the driver's seat, you see heat pouring out from under the engine because that beast is just sitting there working hard. I think those have to be carbon fiber. As you can see on this car, they're obviously body colored paint, but I think they go missing, and they're such a cool iconic element of the SVR, making it look more aggressive and more mean. I would definitely have those in carbon fiber or even just black. Moving around the side, we come on to probably my favorite element of this car. It is this side aerodynamic piece. So this is a sort of fin. As you can see, it's coming through from those wheel arches. You can just about see if I focus this camera properly. I don't know if you can work out there. That's some serrated sort of intakes, and that all that air feeds through that fin and back over the car to help produce aerodynamics. But it's completely unique to this car. They didn't have it on the Project 7 either, and it's not on any other F-Type. And that, for me, is the biggest standout. I love this angle of the car when you stand over it. You get those grills that we were looking at a second ago, and then this fin bit there. So I'm a big fan. Making my way round to the back, the probably most obvious and iconic part of the SVR is the new massive active aero wings. This is a carbon fiber wing. You see the end plates here, and this does move. We're going to get onto it very shortly. There is a secret mode in this car which affects that wing, but you can obviously just press it up or down if you like. And then finally, the last sort of two major elements are the new titanium exhaust, as I said before, weight saving. I think it's about 16 kilos less than the standard exhaust and sounds bloody mean, and you get some SVR badging on it. And then the new slightly meaner and harder working diffuser back there as well. Inside, the main differences that you're going to notice are the quilted seats, which I actually love. I think they're so cool. I personally wouldn't have this blue piping, but I guess it ties into the paintwork. You get a whole load of sort of SVR badging, as you do in the other cars, to tell you the model. Apart from that, it's got all the new technology and Jag equipment, which I'm very happy about. And then probably the best part that you get in the SVR is this suede cloth interior sort of driver zone, which just makes the whole car feel a lot more sporty in my opinion. Carries on up into the headlining as well. I'm not sure I'm in love with this spec of the car. I think I would probably change a few things. A lot more carbon fiber. As much as I love that panoramic sunroof, I think on a car like this you should go for the full carbon roof option. Also, it's extra weight savings, so increased performance. Anyway, let me show you a very cool but quite secret mode on the SVR, which I think is going to make the rest of today quite good fun. Okay, back inside the car, let's start her up. Sounds lovely. Basically, that big rear wing at the back is an active rear wing, so it's there obviously for added downforce, helps with the performance. This car is a 200-mile-an-hour car. Jag made a big deal about the fact that the F-Type was a 200-mile-an-hour car. However, you can't hit 200 miles an hour with that massive wing on the back. It just increases drag. So you have to put the wing down, and to stay down, you need to enter Vmax mode. Boo, boo, boo. So how you do that is, you know, into dynamic, so we're in the sportier mode anyway, everything goes red and intense, and then you've got to hold the wing button for 2 seconds. And then Vmax mode confirmed. Apparently this unleashes all the power. That's what they said. They didn't say how much more or why anything was held back. They just said it will release all the power. So, I guess let's go experience all the power. Oh. It sounds even meaner now as well. Oh, I don't want to give this car back. Lookers Jaguar West London. I don't want to give this car back. So I guess this brings us to the question of this video. Should I, would I, could I buy an F-Type SVR? And you know what? I mean, it's a difficult conundrum. I picked up this car pretty confident in what I was going to say about it. I was like, I kind of, as I said at the beginning of this video, thought, oh, it's, you know, it's an F-Type R replacement. And I still kind of withhold that. I think if you were going to buy a new F-Type, you'd buy this over the R, surely. There's about a 10 or 15 grand price difference, I think. However, the big question, I suppose, is if you are an existing F-Type owner, or specifically an F-Type R owner, is it worth the upgrade? And I was convinced it wouldn't be. But having driven it over the last 24 hours, I really think it is. I genuinely think it is such a performance step up that you wouldn't regret it and you would notice it. If you're mainly a city driver, probably not worth it. But if you have the opportunity to go and take it out for a proper drive at the weekends, oh my God, you're going to be ecstatic. However, for me personally, there are some major sort of holding points that are stopping me from rushing back to Lookers and signing or giving them some kind of deposit. First off, as I discussed, you want the carbon fiber, you want the carbon ceramic brakes, you want all the tricks, and I spec'd one up last night and it came to £131,000. £131,000, and for me personally, for basically a car that I've already got. I know I said that the performance is huge, but I love my current car, the F-Type R. I love that. And so to spend 131 grand for more fun when you go out for a countryside blast, I couldn't do it. I couldn't warrant it. And also at that price point, I think there are lots of other cars that would tempt me. I mean, you're basically talking about R8 V10 Plus kind of car. So the price is a major sticking point. The second thing is, as much as I have fallen in love with this car over the last 24 hours, there's a lot, I think, personally, that I'm disappointed by or is wrong with the car. I really wanted Jag to make like a GT3 spec car, a track-focused, lightweight, roll cage in the back, like brutal car, a weapon. And I know that's really not their ethos, and this is going to remain a GT car, and it needs to be used every day, but I just wish, and I'm hopeful that maybe down the line they will. I know the Project 7 was close to that, but it was kind of a roadster. But there are other elements in the car which I'm like, could have done more with. The paddles, yes, they're nice, but make them bigger or make them just more dramatic. And I love this suede cloth Alcantara driver zone, but why is it just the driver zone? Make the entire dashboard into the suede. And also, probably my biggest sticking point is the car should have been a limited run. That's my big feeling, I think, because anyone with the money can go and get one. And as cool as that is, that's why to me it felt like an R replacement rather than this amazing, unique car. So it's probably just as much me misunderstanding or wanting something different from Jag than being disappointed with this car, because as I've just shown you, I have bloody fallen in love with it so much. But should I buy one? I think for me that price point is just too much of a sticking point. As much as it makes sense within the Jaguar range and even the F-Type range, 130 grand for my spec of an SVR, it just feels too much. However, once these cars get some miles on them and start to depreciate a little bit, if they fall to 90, 95 grand, my God, I think it would be a steal. I think at that kind of price, it would be unbelievable. So who knows what the future holds. Right now, I can't see myself making the move for that much money. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It has been a long wait to get my hands on the SVR. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come.
Well, I don't know if I can scare you. Try and have some fun.
I'm glad I just ate lunch.